The next important tool that we are going to look at is the text tool. The text tool can be used to create all kinds of text in Photoshop. Any design that you have seen on social media or anywhere, you can see that text are being used to express or to pass on the messages that are intended to be passed on. So to select the text layer, the text tool, you come to your toolbar right here. After the gradient tool, you see a bunch of tools. These are not really important, and you see the letter T. So this is our text tool, letter T. That means that's the text tool, and the shortcut key for the letter T is T. So if you want to select the T using your shortcut key, I'm on my gradient tool right now, and I want to select my text tool. I can just press the letter T on my keyboard. You can see it has selected my text tool right here. So once your text tool is selected, you can start creating all kinds of text. So for example, I'm going to get rid of this background, so I'm just going to press Ctrl+Z to get rid of that gradient background we created in the previous video. So we can start creating our text right here, and when you look at the top, this is basic text editing tools that you can use. But when you come right here, you can click on this to bring up the character panel. This gives you more control over the text. So for example, if I just click on my workspace, it is going to create a text for me, and I can type anything that I want. Yours might be different because I'm using a different font, but I'm going to guide you through. When we are creating our designs, I'm going to guide you through how you can actually install some of these fonts on your devices and then be able to use them. So after just typing anything that you want, you can just come and click OK right here, and as I mentioned, go back to your move tool in order to move it around. When you look at the character panel right here, the character panel is associated with the text tool. This gives you more control over your text. So for example, you can see my text color is like purple, and as you can see in the character panel, the color is purple. If I actually want to change this color to any color that I want, I just click on this to bring up my color picker tool, and then I can change it to any color that I want. I'm just going to change it to black for now. This is the text tool. This is how you can create various text in Photoshop. If you want to edit the text, so for example, if I want to type graphic design training, I can just double click on the text right now, and I'll type graphic design training. This is how you can create your text. And when you are done doing that, if I want the design to come down, I'll just bring my cursor right here. I'll click, and then it will bring my blinking cursor, and then I'll press enter. If I want the training tool to come down, I'll click here and then press enter. If I'm okay with it, then I'll come and click on OK to exit the text tool. Once it's done, it automatically goes back to my move tool, and then I can click and drag my text right here. When you look at the character panel, there are other tools that you can use too. So for example, when you check here, this is the font name that I'm using right now, the font that you are looking at right now. So if I want to actually switch from this font to maybe a default font, so if I want to switch from Font to maybe any other fonts in Photoshop, you can just click on this arrow right here. It will bring up a bunch of fonts. Most of these fonts that you are seeing, I've downloaded them, and when we are doing our designs in the next lessons or in the subsequent lessons, I'll provide you with various texts that we can use. So all these texts are being installed. They are installed on my device and accessible by Photoshop that I can use for my design. So for example, if I just choose here, so I can use this text. This is how you actually change your fonts in Photoshop. So you click on this to change your font, any other font that you want to change. So if you've downloaded a font and you want to change it, this is where you change your font. The next thing is this is where you actually adjust the size of your text. So this is where you adjust the size of your text. So for example, if I click on this on this arrow here, I can change the font size from 11.03 points to maybe 24 right here. So you can see that my text has increased in size, and then you can click and drag. But you see, after increasing the size, you can see the text are being they have intertwined, and then it doesn't look very good and readable. As a designer, when you are creating text, you need to take all these into consideration, and you can control that in your character panel right here. So when you look at the next tool here, this is the tool that we call the leading. So the leading controls the amount of space in between your text. So if I change it from 14.7 right here to maybe 18, you can see that the side the space in between my text has been reduced, or has been increased rather. So if I want to make this training just come down a bit, I can either click and drag. I can use my mouse pointer here. You can see my mouse pointer will turn to a hand tool. That way you can click and drag just like this. So if I want to reduce it, you can do the same thing. So if I want to increase, you click and drag to your right side. If you want to reduce, you click and drag to your left side. This I normally don't use it. This one right here is what we call the tracking. This tracks the amount of space in between the letters. So you have to note that with the leading, it tracks or it controls the amount of space in between the text when they are on top of each other. And with the tracking tool right here, it controls the amount of space in between the letters. So for example, if I click here and drag, you see the amount of space in the text have actually increased. If I want to reduce it, I'll click and drag to the left side right here. These are basic changes that I make. All these right here, they are not important. When you mess with them, just leave them at 100. When you start messing with them, you'll see that your text don't actually look very nice. When you check down here, you have the bold, so you can click on it to make your text bold just like this. You can click on it to disable it to make the text go back to normal. This is the italic tool. You can click on it to make your text italic, but usually the fonts that you download it to have an italic font, so you don't usually use it. And I'm just going to disable it. The next one is the capital. So usually when you type out your text in small letters, you don't have to type it in capital letters. When you are trying to change it from small letters to capital letters, you can just come here and then click on this to make the text capitals. Yeah, and you can play around with all this just to see how it works. For example, this one, it creates an underline for your text, and this one just cross out your text for you. So yeah, this is basically how you create your text. And yeah, in our coming lessons, we'll be using the text tool to create all kinds of text. Any text that you see on a design, this is how it starts. You create the text, you tweak it, you change the font, you change the size, you change the tracking, you change the leading, you can change the color. So if I want to change the color to red, I'll just come back to this, click on this, and I'll change the color to something like this. Then I'll press OK. If you want to change, maybe you want to leave graphic design red and then training black, so I can actually just double click and select only the training right here, and then I'll click on my color and change it to black right here. And then when I'm okay with it, I'll press OK. This is actually how you create your text in Photoshop. When I'm okay with it, I'll come back right here and click on OK, and then I'll be able to move my text around in Photoshop. I hope you guys understand what the text tool does, and I'll see you in the next lesson.